Ciao, Tutti. Dr. Suzanne here. I am actually standing at the execution site that existed for 600 years in London, in Tyburn Square. And it's not actually a square, it's a triangle. And on the ground here, I will show you this, is the site of Tyburn Tree. And what that meant was that, and there's 3 trees here, and I'm in the midst of multiple intersections. It's a major intersection, as you can see. And no one would ever know. In my 40 plus years of coming to London, I was never aware that this is the site where so-called witches were hung. And they hung the witches and they hung the prisoners, people who would steal, and it was a spectacle. People would come and watch people being hung here. They could hang over 20 people, a multitude of people at one time. And what's interesting about the witch hanging is, or the so-called witches, it was normalized at this time in the 1700s. Witches in other parts of Europe were actually burned at the stake. And I believe also in Salem in Massachusetts, they were burned at the stake. So this one felt quite emotional to me to come to this spot, particularly because they were able to, like, people just walk by, and I would say many don't even realize that they're walking by a site that was an execution site for centuries, where thousands of people had died. And I'm sure I've walked by here too and didn't even know it. But now that I do know it, I want to tell you one thing about these so-called witches and what they would do. The fear of the female body, the fear of women's power, the fear of women who didn't follow the norm. They would actually look over the woman's body to see if they could find a mole that they would call a teat, where the devil would actually drink. I mean, if that isn't the most absurd thing that we've ever heard today, that is completely absurd. And my question to you and to us as women who have been shaped by history, what did we normalize today that will look absurd in 300 years, in 200 years, in 100 years? What will look absurd? I don't have the answer to that. It's more of a question to ponder. I invite you to read my book when it comes out, Excavate London, a psychological history of women and how history has shaped us. Thanks for watching.